Hey everybody, happy Wednesday, and we're sliding in just like Wes McKenney is sliding into Fratese Sisters DMs with a tinfoil hat show. We're less charismy as the McKinsey there, but how are you guys?
McKinsey?
Doing fine.
I get it, Rizzy,
You talk about
McKinney, and just
McKinney, because McKinsey is a sex doctor from like
McKinney could be
50s,
that
60s.
now. I mean,
They made a movie about him.
I guess that's one way for you to clap some interesty cheeks.
But I am looking at this right now because Vlad,
dude, I'm telling you, Vlad
Yeah.
finds some of the most just random, outrageous stuff and throws it on there right before getting ready for the show. But it is the tinfoil hat show. It is a Lazio post game / day after. We can talk about that as well. We can talk some Lazio.
screw Lazio. I'm looking at this DM.
Shit. I like to call yesterday's game the game of two passes because that's all that game was just two passes and nothing else. But we can talk about that. Do you guys want to get into the post match, or do you guys want to talk about the Wednesday shenanigans?
Not until everyone likes and subscribes to the video and joins our Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff.
To the 5 people watching.
Yeah, to the.
Come on, guys, we need you.
You got to start somewhere, all right? Yeah,
it's average.
People are rolling in, but you got to get it out. I always forget. This is my like April resolution is making sure I tell everyone to like and subscribe.
So far, you're following through on that.
You're following through. It's
All
okay.
right.
It's average length. All right. Okay. So obviously we kind of did a little bit of a post game yesterday, but we'll do like, a day removed from it. My thoughts didn't really change. Did your guys' thoughts change from yesterday?
Oh, not much. Like, it's just when they grow a set of balls, they actually can play a little bit.
I guess I'm more relieved. Bit of a weight off our shoulders, which I know is kind of the pun of the thumbnail today, but it sort of is. And I know, Dash, you absolutely hate when Doosan does that. That was sort of why I also chose that.
I know you wanted to trigger me. One of the reasons why I hate that celebration, right, is when you claim you want the smoke and then the smoke comes and then you turtle up. That pisses me off. So, like, for example, we'll talk about Angel. So if any of you guys follow the college basketball tournament that was going on, Angel Reese kind of pulled a Doosan where, she's talking smack, having a crown on her head and yada, yada, yada. And she gets mollywopped on Monday and gets sent home. And then her post-match presser is, it's so tough, everyone's been bullying me and blah, 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 blah. It's like when you're playing a heel and then you get your teeth kicked in and then you start whining about stuff. So the reason why I wasn't happy with that celebration that the Doocy boy did, happy with his game, not happy with the celebration, is because if you look at it for record this season, he did it 3 times. And then after preceding all of those 3 times, he laid some of the most shittiest matches you will ever see him play.
Yep.
And that's why I'm just like sitting there, I'm like, oh fuck. It's just one of those things, man, because like granted, he's I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it, right? It's one of those things where you've been playing like shit for an entire 9-game stretch. That's not the celebration you want to do.
To be fair, he didn't play last game.
Well, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have this thought, and you guys could let us in. Yeah, Vincenzo, Instagram. So if you look at German Dave underneath.
I have it right here, my boy.
No, I think he's talking about Fratese and McKenney.
We're gonna talk about our Instagram.
Oh,
right now.
Just for a second.
Because I mean, I
was wondering. Because there is our Instagram page. Just go search for Double D Sports Show, and you can find us there, and you will see all the recent shows, every post. You can also join the Discord. There's the code for you also on that beautiful post.
And the watch party
just created.
Watch party.
We have the WrestleMania watch party this Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, by the way, guys, German Dave got a very schmexy mic. So if you're hearing that German
he's leaning
accent
into it as well. He's right up into it.
Tonight is ASMR night.
He is going to give you such German ASMR. You're going to sound it very good tonight.
Yep.
Or-
Yes, we got Instagram going, guys, essentially, and a very sexy voice behind the social.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's do it. I mean, I don't know if I just completely teased Vincenzo here because he just said Instagram, so I used that as an excuse to.
Do we really want to open with it? Yeah, I guess we can.
I've been staring at it, and I can't stop staring at it until we.
She's a
Bring
baddie,
it up.
isn't she? There we go.
I have to bring it up, guys. Let's.
Sensational player on and off the pitch.
Yeah.
Fratese's sister hitting up Big Mac.
So this is Fratese's sister. Is that confirmed?
I'm assuming Fratese. That's her last name. Granted,
because Mike just says, "Aha, Pulisic
the
Fratese."
can we confirm it? I mean, this is breaking news.
Fratese. Let's type that in.
Oh yeah, WWE Speed got released. That's funny.
That's
like the new 24/7 championship.
How many eyes was on that?
I don't know. Why didn't you just look her on the IG? She probably has a public page.
I'm just okay. I have her up.
It's like 3 eyes. 3 eyes.
I got it again. I don't. It's 3 eyes. Yeah,
it's 3 eyes. Oh wow! Vincenzo says, "Pulisic." Yo, they're passing. They're passing her. Oh. No.
Oh my God.
McKenny's getting that takes away from him. McKenny's getting sloppy seconds.
I have it, but we are here, my boys.
Swapping.
There because this guy right here says.
But we may get cancelled for that one.
Good, possibly. I don't know.
Why are we getting canceled?
We're not. We're sharing a page
because we are.
Yeah, that is Fratese's sister. Holy shit, that is Fratese's sister. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Vlad says, "Boomer Dave, you're supposed to be googling baddies." So breaking news: McKenny's sliding in Davide Fratese's sister's DM.
Yeah.
Wow, Taka. He doesn't score on the field, but he does know how to score off it. He just dimes up assists.
Who's ready to scroll deeper?
Touche.
My God, there's some funny stuff in the comments, though. I mean that's an excuse, anyways.
Oscar, to give you context. Yeah, Oscar, to give you context. McKenny has slid into these DMs. McKenny is trying to pull.
Yeah, that's why we're looking at chicks. This is Davide Fratese's sister, who McKenny and apparently Pulisic had a round or are having rounds. Is it at the same time?
I don't know. Vlad just dropped this gem right before we went live.
Yeah, we're kind of just creeping the Instagram as we go because it's all just new to us.
Oh, Vincenzo says he had a thing with Pulisic's sister. Oh, yeah.
Oh, because he did Pulisic's sister. Now he's going Fratese's sister.
Wow.
Got it.
Damn. I could imagine that conversation that's going on there. Like McKenny's like, "Hey,
this is great. This is a great way to start a show."
He's like, "Hey, Kiara, I heard you like ketchup on your spaghetti." Just something stupid. Like, what is it? McKenny eats ranch. He's like, "Hey, I heard I like, I'm gonna give you some ranch on your pizza." Something stupid because I feel like McKenny's super corny. Mr. Steal Yo sister, as Vlad says. That is what Big Max is doing.
Hey, shoot your shot, Weston.
I guess we can do it, Vlad. So live look at McKenny at Fratese's house right now.
You just wake up and then your heart is just pumping. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, so those moments are crazy.
Yeah, he's crazy right now.
So crazy.
At least we have a Juventino beating an Interisti at something. Right?
At least we're winning off the pitch.
We are winning off the pitch. That's so funny. Oh, McKenny.
And then, I mean,
yeah. He's got to Photoshop that into McKenny's face instead of Ronaldo.
Oh man, that's funny though. That's funny.
That made my day.
I wonder what Weston's body count is now with footballers, ex-girlfriends, girlfriends, and sisters. And
that's a very good question. I'm not really sure. I kind of have this thing that's gonna blow your guys' mind. You're not gonna believe it when I say this to you guys, but kind of tying into an under the radar Juve player, because McKennie's Instagram game is under the radar. Do you want to know who is in third place in the league for big chances missed? It's gonna blow your fucking mind.
McKennie?
No.
I mean, we're on him. So
Lautaro.
Nope.
Chiesa.
Nope.
Oh, come on, just stop straight.
Chiesa. All right, Caio George.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh,
I'm
damn.
dead. I am dead serious.
So it doesn't matter who comes out of the Juventus school. We miss big chances.
Like I'm kidding you not. Here's my proof. There it is.
McKennie's not missing big chances.
So right now it's Dusan with 13, Crava with 12, Caio George with 11, and Caio George has under 900 minutes played.
That's actually horrendous.
I mean, it does mean he's trying to do something with the ball. But
at least he exists.
How many?
Like at least he exists.
Yeah.
Because that to me is crazy, because most people would say that Caio George got sent off to essentially die, and yet he's sitting here with 11 missed big chances.
3 goals in 19 games.
Which is crazy. Like, could you imagine if he
786 minutes?
Could you imagine if he converted like half of those in half of those games, or half of these big chances?
Those moments are crazy.
Those moments are crazy. But think about it, right? He's at 11. If Caio George converted half of them, so at 780, he'd have, I want to say, 8 goals in 780 minutes. Shit. Like, screw Milik and Keane. At this point, run Caio George as your backup.
Hey.
At least he's getting shots off. Which, to be honest, I'm going to be frank with you guys, I thought he was pretty much donezo.
And by the way, he showed in the preseason on the US tour, he showed some flashes in extra games. Like, his finishing was good. Like how he passed the ball, how he played off of the other strikers, and actually I think Cambiaso found him on a couple of crosses. And yeah, man, I think he would be a great backup option.
I mean, look at that though, like 11, and he technically isn't, because Frosinone, they just kind of rotate the 9 that's the starter.
Yeah.
So he's not even getting consistent minutes, and he's still finding ways to make opportunities. I mean, again, in the questions to be made, is he in the right spot, or is just Soule just feeding him properly, or is what's going on there? Obviously, I don't watch him enough. I'm just gonna be frank with you. I've seen snippets of him.
I don't either.
So I don't know. Maybe the only person that I think could answer this question with quality is Misak, because Misak just has all the knowledge when it comes to anyone under 21 years old.
Yep.
I'm kidding, buddy. I love you. I know you're watching. But like, I'm not. I was a little bit taken back, because I was just, I felt like, fuck it. Let me just read these stats and just see what's going on. And I'm like, Caio George, what the fuck? Because you look at the list, and then it's just like, it's Dusan, it's Crava, it's Thuram, it's Lautaro, Giroud, Gonzalez, Lukaku, Kristovic. So it's just like, and then you just see Caio George there, and I'm just like, what the hell? And I got this for you, buddy.
Brother.
No, we love you, Misak. We're just some banter here. Yeah, I was surprised that Caio George was cooking. Well, I mean, would it be considered cooking? I mean, he's making an imprint. At least, there's a pulse.
He's doing something. Like he has a goal contribution every 62 minutes. Like, it's not great, but it's something.
It's a backup. I mean, it's not
like as a backup option. Honestly, like how many minutes does Keane have? Now I have to research that, and how many goals and contributions he has. Hold up,
depends what season you look at. This year's season is the direct inverse of last year's season for Moisey, because he had the most contributions per minute played, and now he can't win it. Everything's going against him, and he's just kind of slipped.
Moisey played 200 minutes less than Caio, 0 goals, 0 assists.
So Misak is saying the one that's doing the work is Sule, and then it's putting it on a platter for Kaio, and he's just flipping it.
And we talk about Frosinone anyways, and Sule, how everything does go through him. It's just a very attacking team.
Oh, yeah, I mean, like, for sure, it's not going to be replicated. Like, his performance wouldn't be replicated with us, right, with Kaio.
Yeah, we got to be a little careful.
The question is, right, like, for example, I think Milik it's difficult to build a business case for moving Milik, right, because the salary and then the value you got from him, it's like, what, 3 million, 3.5 million overall for everything. So it's just like you look at it and it's just like, okay, Milik is going to be here until Milik's legs just stop working, whether people like it or not. I think the tangible now is like, what do you do for the third option? Is it Moise Keane? Is it Kaio George? Is there, some equity for Moise Keane? The problem with Moise Keane is Moise hasn't really made any equity. Like, his stock is like 0 this year.
Yep.
Like, unless you want to consider how many views he's got on YouTube for his single with Rafael Leao, but even Leao couldn't assist that music video from being any better, unfortunately. Though he does assist Milan players quite well. But I do digress. I just that's going to be an interesting situation you're going to see in the summer with what happens with Moise or Kaio. Especially if you get if you get a new coach, say that, Allegri bites the bullet and is out of there, makes you wonder, like, I don't even want to get into that rabbit hole because we could sit here and like do what ifs for a whole hour. But I kind of want to throw this to you guys because I just saw this pop out earlier this morning. The source means absolutely nothing, but I just think it's funny because, people are creaming in their pants for it. But German Dave, don't lose your shit on this. But Mr. De Zerbi is being monitored by Juventus, who are now considering the future of Allegri after their failure to challenge for the Scudetto this season. So, I mean, obviously you can tell from, and this is from Graham Bailey.
Graham Bailey, like he was Graham. Yes, it looks funny. Just English people are like that sometimes.
Absolutely.
Graham Bailey. Yeah, I mean, don't trust it.
Well, I mean, you can tell from the way that it's phrased. For failure to challenge for the Scudetto this season, I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Like, what? Since when has there been an objective to challenge for the title?
I don't know. Do we have to look up Graham Bailey? As long as he doesn't have a photo of himself.
Oh, if he's someone that I don't know, then he's it's a
Yorkshire.
Like I heard most of the PL or English sources, and if he would be one of those trustworthy, I would.
It's like honestly, it means nothing much. It's like, for example, it's like Football Italia. Like they just relay stuff or they relay things. I don't find any credence to this. You know what's funny? The first comment on the tweet is Frankie, and he says, "Why would we want this fraud? Who is the definition of inconsistency?" Like Frankie coming in with straight smoke on that tweet, which is hilarious. So I'll swap you over.
What is HITC?
It's like a podcast. It's got to be a podcast. I think it's a podcast or something. See, there. I'll highlight Frankie down here.
Frankie site, yeah. Frankie. It's all it is, just a journalism site. He's just some dude. Yeah.
Okay. Frankie coming in with the straight heat here, which I thought was funny. I see Frankie's name on there. I'm like, oh. And then Frankie's like, why would we want this fraud? I'm like, okay, Frankie, cook, buddy. Go for it.
Good for you.
Frankie's chosen violence there. I don't see any kind of logistical move for De Zerbi. I have no idea why that was even brought up. I think it's just at this point, it's just like English folk are like, oh, what can we do to get some more clicks here? Why don't we just post something about De Zerbi and Juventus? Because it looks like Allegri's getting the old sack. I think that's like the only thing, right?
This is funny.
Do you want to hear how many games De Zerbi won? With which he scored at least. How many games did he win with only scoring 1 goal at least since January?
0.
2 actually. 1 against Nottingham Forest and 1 the meaningless game against Roma after he got clapped.
Oh yeah, I mean.
So whatever. Since January he only won games where he scored 3 or 4 goals. And that's it. He lost and tied every other game.
It's almost like Pirlo. It's almost like the Pirlo season. Like you would have like maybe 1 or 2 occasional 1-0s, and then everything else was not that. So
I just since we're making fun of Graham Bailey a little bit, at least I am. I just want to like highlight this here. A post from March 11th, 2017, because he has to continue to post this 6 years later, because it was the one time he was right. The best young player in England will soon be a Man City first teamer. Phil Foden is the name.
And by
Everyone
the
will soon
way,
know.
he's not the only guy. Every Premier League scout knew that. Foden
6
came up
years
under
ago, though.
Foden came up under motherfucking Pep Guardiola, and he molded him into his squad, and now, of course, he works perfectly after all those years. By the way, he scored a hat-trick today against Aston Villa.
who Foden?
Foden, yes.
Yeah. He's like hot and cold.
And you've been screwing up the English
He's
names
hot
today.
and cold, and if he runs hot, man.
When he's
Really
hot,
hot.
he's hot. But then when he's cold, holy shit, he's cold.
Yep.
All right, so the next thing we've got is Mo Tactical. Vlad sent this to me. He says, Zazzaroni's thread, he says, it will be a treat for me. So we'll read it live and we'll kind of react to it here. Shall I make this adjust the size here so you guys can see a little bit better, viewers? There we go. All right, so Zazzaroni sounds like a noodle. Says, Allegri, you don't change him. You can criticize him, try to tear him down, even offend him, calling him worn down, obsolete, him and his football style, but no one can change the certainalities. A solidarity that is the result of his experience. He knows he can only win games like this when you don't have champions, when the quality is what he has. That is why he looks for balance, tries to concede little as possible, takes advantage of the few opportunities with the empty spaces of the opponents. There's no space for aesthetics, which relies on individual plays, practicality, and the final result of what matters. The biggest and most generous forgiver in football. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what Allegri is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like, Allegri doesn't throw you under the bus. He just sits there
Yep.
and, you know, he just takes it. You come at him with the pitchforks and stuff, which... So that was one thing, right? The other thing that kind of threw me for a loop, and I don't really know how much weight there is to it, because it's all these, like, you know, these other pages that essentially just retweet news, or like, for example, if Romeo shows up on like somebody's live stream, they'll take a quote and tweet it just to make it sound like they're, you know, like a journalist or something. Like, look, I quoted Romeo, because so here's the quote that Romeo said. I think it was on Juventus / Rid the Rock. They were doing something on Twitch, I think. So Romeo says this, and he says, I've asked Allegri several times about the trident, but he doesn't see it as a regret. I am convinced that if Chiesa were to remain with a new coach, the first thing he will do is to have Chiesa and Yildiz play together, one on the right, one on the left. So I kind of want to talk. Here's the thing that I just find very confusing, and with all due respect, if this is taken out of context, it probably is, right? Because they're quoting him from a live stream. This isn't like an article that he wrote. Chiesa and Yildiz, either you find a way to tell Chiesa to stay on the right side, and then you have Yildiz play on the left, because Yildiz can't really... The weakest spot that he is across the front line is the right, because Yildiz has the shiftiness and the agility to cut in and dribble off the left, and if he inverts, it works better for him than on the right, whereas Chiesa is more of a plate setter than more of a chance creator in a sense. So it's just like, I can understand it from that perspective, but that just leaves a huge gaping hole on the defensive phase, because Chiesa doesn't play, Chiesa doesn't play good defense. Yildiz, again, he's a kid, young, not really physical, so his defensive ability isn't really the greatest. So it's like you leave that many tactical gaps. And then the other thing, you know, with it, right? So say that you keep the same squad and you just flip the coaches. Who the hell's going to play the ball to them? Bremer? Like, who's going to pass to Yildiz and Chiesa in those kind of positions? Like, is it Bremer that's going to set it? Because it sure as hell ain't Loca.
Hey, but she's a 70 million defender. He should be able to play with the ball.
He should be like a Kanji. Yeah, just like another $80 million defender that apparently is a striker, but he can't defend for shit. I heard he's quite the quality of wood now, because that's all he does is hold the bench. But I don't understand. Like, for example, to have those two play together, you sacrifice players in the middle of the pitch. And right now, our
Yep.
greatest concern is moving the ball through the middle.
Yep.
Because again, if you see it yesterday, you have defenders that are making the incisive pass forward. Like Cambiaso goes into the regista role and slots that ball through for Chiesa, where it's not Locatelli, it's not Rabiot. With all due respect to McKennie, like the ball that McKennie got was found to him by a defender, and then McKennie was able to just literally play it into open space for Dusan. So it's like you can't. The reason why the 4-3-3 isn't successful is because you don't have the proper midfield assets to play it.
And
Either
also not the defenders to play it well.
Yeah, that's also a thing as well too. Because like for example, when you run a midfield 3, you have 2 setups. Either you have a 5 and 2 8s or a 10 and 2 6s. That is how an effective midfield works. So like for example, Prime Barcelona, Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets. Xavi and Iniesta, they played as 8s. Busquets played as a 5. Worked perfectly. Let's use Real Madrid. For example, Cruz, you could say Cruz was like a air quotes, or Modric was an air quotes 10, air hypotheticals. And then you had him flanked by Cruz and Casemiro. Like that's when they were dominant, right? Casemiro, a 6. Cruz at the time when Modric was cooking, was a 6, but now he's kind of transitioned into that role. Yep. I mean, even if you look at Madrid's midfield right now, you have a 10, essentially, a 10 that's playing as a 5, and then you have 2 6s around him that surround him. Or no, they switched. I'm sorry. My mistake. Tchouameni plays as a 5, and they're flanked by 2 8s. That's how you have an effective midfield 3. We have, essentially what we have currently is we have a 6 in McKennie, a 6 in Rabiot, and a 6 that is people for some reason think is a 5 in Locatelli. Because even like Locatelli's best days at Sassuolo, he was never a 10 or an 8. Like he never was. He was always a 6. It's just it's an unfortunate truth, but like it's just no. That's the first thing you need, guys. Like it doesn't matter who you have as a coach until you sort that proper midfield setup. You're not going anywhere.
All right, we have quite the stack of things to go over.
Yeah, because they were
just loading it in tonight. I found something else. I'm gonna miss this if I don't show it right away because it wasn't posted up. Oh my God, so many windows. Let me find the right one. This guy. All right, I'll make this big and start from the beginning. Okay, so here's Locatelli. Mistouches it. There's the counter. I'm just gonna fast forward.
You're gonna want to drag it to protect it for copyright.
Let's do that a little bit. Oh my God! There's
we gotta have a gentle touch.
No, it's not gentle. But there's okay. Bam.
Mute the audio.
I did. It went back on. Okay, sorry.
So you gotta mute it there.
I did. I double clicked. Sue me. Go sue me again. They always sue us. That's Vlahovic going all the way back and collecting that ball because Locatelli was caught out. So he did the team game there. Just thought I might point that out because it is a good point to kind of highlight.
But also he was doing that the whole first half.
He was, but I mean, there's video proof.
The midfield was losing the ball, got them everywhere between their own and the final third, and somebody had to make that run and win the ball back because otherwise those would have been counter-attack goals immediately.
And I said it yesterday, right? Like I said, Dusan's taking strides to being a more complete player.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I hate his immaturity. That's just what I get.
Well, that's another stride he has to take.
Yeah, like for example, I'll be honest with you guys, right? From how I was in October till now with Dusan's playing capabilities, he's impressed me. He's done extremely well. Yep. Like there is no narrative, there is no fucking article of Dash hates Dusan because fuck Dusan.
That clip was amazing when Giuntoli nearly killed Mana.
It looked like he was about to just like, hey, like Mana looks like he just creamed his pants. Like, look at the way he bobs his head back. Like he's like, oh, he literally like he looks like he's just gotten the best 30 seconds of his life.
And Giuntoli was like, "Hey, we just have to sell 7 players, not 8."
He's like, we gotta only sell 7, not 8. Let's go. It's like I said, like I don't have an issue with his abilities. My issue is his mental game, his maturity. That's the biggest feedback I've had.
And by the way, who were all the strikers that went for a lot of money the past years? It was Vlahovic, it was Darwin Núñez, it was Haaland. Who did I miss? Alexander Isak to Newcastle.
There's a Haaland conversation at the end as well.
Kane to Bayern, and all of them are way better than Haaland in the other spaces of the pitch, like in build-up play and winning the ball back and everything. Haaland is just, of course, the 100 times better finisher of them. But as football players and actually helping the teams in other facets of the game, I think all of those things, all of them are better than Haaland, I believe.
All right, we will talk about Haaland. That's we're gonna save that one because that's a little bit juicy and might go on for a little bit. But right now, Mama Rabiot.
We're gonna talk about Rabiot.
I mean, this is where I found that other clip, so I figured we're on the same page.
I don't understand. How does Romeo Agresti know that he has a great relationship with Thiago Motta? Like, do they just hang out and like Rabiot just DMs Romeo and like, hey, yo, bro, I'm hanging out with T Motta. Like I don't know. Like that to me is just like, for example, because this isn't like a direct quote. This is just like something random, right? Like I don't know. That's just so freaking weird to me.
Man,
it is a little weird.
This is like something that one journalist or someone he knows in that building told him something, and it's immediately like posted or reported on some channels or social media.
Like I understand, like, for example, the guys are saying like Rabiot and like Motta know each other from like PSG, but it's just like, okay,
maybe there's something.
I just think that's such a reach of a sentence.
Yeah.
Maybe like it could have been, it could have just been taken out of context, right? Where like that could have been it. Where I don't know. I just find it super corny because it's just like, nothing's been decided on Rabiot's future. Keep an eye out because the Frenchman also has a great relationship with Motta, and it's like.
And by the way, having a good relationship with somebody doesn't mean they want you on the squad necessarily. Let's say Motta is the coach hypothetically. Hey, they may be best friends, but we don't know like if he
being teammates
if Motta actually wants him.
Yeah, like being teammates.
Can you not write a complete sentence? How many like?
He's on his phone. He's probably on break on his phone. He's like, shit, because he's trying to hit like enter as in like space, but it's like send. So
I hate when I get messages like that. Speaking of which, there's my sister doing it. So anyways.
So I just like, for me, I don't know. Like, is Motta gonna tell like Rabiot, hey, yeah, your asking price for your contract is like too ridiculous high? Like okay, sure. Like I don't know. I think this is stupid. Personally, I think he needs to take a pay cut. If everyone else is taking a pay cut around him, I think he should as well. Again, that means to be said, right? Because if you're having Szczesny try to take a pay cut, Dusan trying to take a pay cut, like he needs to. Like I don't see a situation where they re-sign Rabiot for the same wage. Like I think for him to stay, he has to take a pay cut.
Hey, KB, let me jump in front of my guy Di Marzio. He may not be like mostly accurate with his player and transfer reports, but everything that has to do with management, coaches, scouting, and everything, he always has that on point. At this most of the time, the first one to report those.
That would be hilarious if that's the actual thing. Like Agresti comes out on live. He's like, hey, yeah, Rabiot, he texted me. He told me that him and Motta are good.
I just ate a sandwich with Thiago today.
We're solid.
I thought you said it was salad. instead of solid. They had salad.
Or it can be salad.
That's
It
the
can be
worst.
salad.
That's not a meal. It's just so disgusting.
A nice chicken Caesar salad, something, or a nice
No, just give me a
salad
goddamn
with...
chicken.
Give me a Dave's like, give me the fucking cock. I want the whole thing.
I mean, you can give me some salad on the side, but I mean, why give me a little bit of chicken and put on some lettuce? Give me the goddamn chicken.
Imagine a nice chicken salad with some green pesto sauce, man.
I just salad. I don't have a thing against salad. I just have a thing against salad as the entire meal.
So I need Vlad to break this down for me. So this is the next thing. So apparently Dejan Kulusevski is absolutely useless from the Spurs watch. Because remember when everybody was telling us that we got fleeced by Spurs for selling him for like 45 mil? And apparently, according to the Spurs here, the Spurs watch, Bad Patch, he's only had 6 good months in 3 seasons, and the 6 good months was the 6 months we needed for him to get sold.
So if you go down in the comments on that one as well, though, people are arguing. Now I don't.
That's why I was asking.
One at a point of like knowledge here with Kulusevski and how he's been doing at Tottenham, but it seems very divisive just reading.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, for example, I know what Kulusevski's capable of, and like, you know, I know where his limits are, and I think he's slow, right? He needs to go in a league or play in a league where there's a bunch of space.
He's up and down. I watch lots of Premier Leagues and lots of Tottenham as well. Like, he's completely up and down. Like, if he has a defender in front of him that is slow, that can't react to some of his cuts or some of his runs towards the touchline, then he beats those. But his overall goal contribution isn't great. Like, he has a goal contribution every 252 minutes, which is basically the numbers that Caio Jorge is doing at Frosinone. So he's up and down all the time. He's not a road beater, so to say.
I saw him when Albania played against Sweden, and I was just like, it's the same Kulu. Like, I was just like, it's the same way he played with us. I didn't see much of a difference.
No, remember, inconsistent. He's not good, not great. Yeah,
he's either a 3 or an 8. I think that's kind of like the consensus, right? You know, the funny thing, speaking, because we're kind of on Tottenham. Remember when that Ange, their coach, Anzi, whatever the hell his name was, it's like, I forgot his last name, but their coach, right?
Postecoglou.
He was like, oh yeah, because remember the one game he was like down 2 men by 2 red cards and decides to play all 8 or 9 players forward and shit, and everyone was like,
dude,
see, look at that.
Was crazy.
He's like, see, look at this guy. This guy's got balls, not like Allegri. And then it's like you look at the table where Tottenham is, and you're
crazy.
Just like, you're like, okay.
That was crazy. And the craziest thing is that the Tottenham fans actually loved that, because they didn't have a coach in some way that tried to play some offensive ball.
Yeah, without realizing that their rosters suck.
I was so mad about that, man. That is what you expect from your club, yeah?
I mean, at that point, again, you're 2 men down.
Still trying to counter-attack and have only play with only 2 defenders.
You know your club is in this shit when you're just sitting there like begging for or for example, you know your club hasn't won shit or is like a low tier club when you're just like, oh my god, our coach plays offensive football and we're so incredible, we're so amazing. Like that to me is just like,
by the way, the sad thing is we aren't far away from that, because our fans want offensive ball as well, and then start crying if we concede 4 or 5 goals a game.
Right. You know, there's like, and Vlad has it here. There's like, I want to say like 3. I call them 3 of the biggest bums in football management. I'm not gonna put Ange in there because I had these other 3.
Not yet. He's not as much proof. He's new, but Ten Hag and Pochettino,
Ten Hag, and De Zerbi are 3 of the biggest frauds in management. Easily 3 of the biggest frauds in football management, because it's just like everyone's just like, oh, at least we're playing offensive football here. You know, it's, you suck. You're losing. Oh, like what is there to be happy about? I mean, I understand if it's like if they're managing Luton, right, and like you haven't won anything, but like for example, Ten Hag is managing Manchester United. Allegedly, I think Pochettino is managing Chelsea. I don't know. I mean, I think he's running it, or is Todd Bowley actually running Chelsea? Who knows?
Oh no, but he's running it. It's yeah.
So here's a thought.
It's just a shit show. It's burning to the right before in front of us.
Is it because we just started giving out trophies for participation, and then just making everyone feel good all the time that? Like these newer generations, they don't even know what it means to win. They don't care about winning because they're going to get a reward anyway. So as long as it's pretty and happy and whatever bullshit, then they're happy.
It's kind of like
they think it's easy to buy winning mentality. That's the problem. They think
they're a bunch of losers. They don't know the first goddamn thing about it.
Ajax to the semifinals, and they think they bought the winning formula.
I just don't know why losers can talk about winning. I don't get it.
I think the one thing is like I really do think, like for example, like Pochettino, or not Pochettino, it's just the first comment here. I feel bad for Pochettino. He's like Allegri giving a bunch of 19-year-olds unexpected. He's a serial loser. To me, Pochettino is just a serial loser. Like he's kind of like the Arsene Wenger after the Invincibles, because like that's what Wenger was. After Thierry Henry and all that, Bergkamp and all those guys kind of just went away. Like I don't know. For me, Arsene Wenger, like from 2010 until when he stopped, was just like it was like Mourinho called it. Like he was a serial loser, and that's honestly how I feel like Pochettino is. Like, but he after that Champions League final with Tottenham, like Tottenham never took a step forward, never really did anything, and just kind of went into mediocrity. And then like Pochettino went to PSG, and like you can't even remember him being at PSG.
Yeah. No, the problem for me with Poch is like he's not a bad coach, but he's also not the great coach everybody wanted him to be when he started at Chelsea. And yes, Vlad is right. He inherited like a horrible squad with just shitty squad composition. Like it's even worse than we have. And every player they bought is injured because they have even a worse medical staff than we have. No, at Chelsea, like everything is shit, and part of it is on Pochettino because sometimes his tactics aren't good. In the EFL Cup final against Liverpool, where Liverpool played like 15 and 17-year-old players against Chelsea. Like he went in overtime for penalties, and Liverpool still went for the game with those young guys against their like 250 million pound midfield.
They're super squad. You know what's kind of funny is like I kind of put Pochettino the same as Pioli. Like he's like the Argentinian Pioli, where he's like he's not bad, but he's also like not really good either. It's just like it is what you get with him. Like if you give him the right pieces, he might be able to make something happen. But like if you're expecting him to develop something out of nothing, like it's just not going to happen.
So Chelsea made a bit of news this weekend, anyways.
Did they?
Yeah, there's a few fans up in arms. So if I go back one from this is where I found out Fabrizio Romano. I actually didn't even know. I had to look this up. Oh,
did someone pay him for that tweet?
Maybe.
He gets
Chelsea football
gets paid for every tweet. He doesn't do shit for free.
It is his business.
Yeah, gosh, man, Italians.
Anyways, Chelsea Football Club is aware of a video clip circulating on social media.
Dave,
Saturdays.
You could click it. You could click it, and it'll take you to his actual tweet.
Yeah, no, I don't care about his tweet. I'm moving on.
Okay.
Anyways, so moving on.
Want to support him.
No, it's now you got me screwed up because I'm clicking on things. Is this it? See, I had the goddamn thing ready. You got me clicking on shit.
No, you have it.
Now they're gonna say I'm a fucking boomer. Here it is. Okay.
Don't fucking click anything.
No, I'm not clicking. We got it. I just have to scroll. So this is apparently what happened. Oh, and of course the stupid thing goes over it.
He dapped him up?
Yeah, so let's look at this again. Like he
wasn't paying attention. People are making that out.
Dude,
yes.
And he tapped his shoulder.
He tapped
Now,
his
of
shoulder.
course,
What do
I
they
mean,
want
here's
more?
another photo.
Chill out, man.
Yeah, so there's people here like, so like the power of the internet is wild.
That's wild.
But then this guy's like, how is it taken out of context? The video fully shows Gallagher look at the kid with his hand out, and then he completely blanks him. Is he looking at the kid? He never looked at the kid.
Dude, he tapped his shoulder. Dude, everybody of us got like hanging for a high five.
You know,
the
internet. The internet makes it look like it was a Patrice Evra, Luis Suarez moment, right? Like that. That's how it sounded like.
They want to make it racism. That's the problem. They want again to show to push a shitty agenda.
That is pretty.
He dapped his shoulder.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. What are you gonna do? Tap his shoulder and then dap him up after? Like that? Like, hey, what's going on? And then I look over. Come on, people. And you know the same people. That's pathetic.
Yeah. And by the way, do you want to go for a 1 minute Chelsea talk and Conor Gallagher talk while we are at it? So sure. Chelsea are in a shitty financial situation. They more likely than not will get like done from behind for FFP reasons. And now they have to sell this summer window around 150 million of pure profit, though. Not just players, profit. Jeez. And Conor Gallagher is their best midfielder right now, and the only guy that is worth making a profit on him, but he's like around 50 million. So there are still 100 million profit they have to make, but no players to sell from their academy because their academy didn't produce anything.
No. Their academy, like ironically, like their academy produced some of the most world-class players ever, but they never signed them. Like Chelsea never kept them. I just found that ironic, right? With like, for example, Salah didn't come from the academy, but like with Salah being one of the things where they brought in, nope, didn't work. De Bruyne, nope, didn't
give
work.
Him to Roma.
Lukaku, nope, it didn't work.
Dude, Hazard, oh no, we don't want him.
Nope. God, that to me, like the only reason, like for example, that club was relevant was because Abramovich didn't tolerate any bullshit whatsoever. Like you can clearly see how it is now.
It was run like a Russian mob.
There are stories of, honestly, there are stories about him landing with his helicopter at the training facility, walking like into the building, and like if he didn't like what something one person did wrong, immediately fired on the spot, and that's like how he reigned actually in terror because everybody was scared to lose their job from one day to the next one.
Love it.
So we never answered this question from Vincenzo. So like we need to answer this. Would you take Italiano over De Zerbi? Similar style, but De Zerbi seems out of touch. De Zerbi is one of the biggest cowards in football because if you've ever listened to him talk, he talks about how I want a job with no pressure, no stress. I don't want anything that'll stress me out because I want to play how I want to play, and it is what it is. De Zerbi is not a big club team. He is not, never will be, and that's, Brighton, Sassuolo, Shakhtar, those are the clubs he'll go to. He'll be good for Instagram. He'll be good for football hipsters who, what I like to consider a football hipster is someone who either doesn't have a real understanding of the game or has a delusional touch on how the game is actually played. For me, to be honest with you, like some of these takes, like some of these people that were like, oh, we need this. The reason why I like Italiano more so, I like Italiano over Motta, to be honest with you, is because you've seen Italiano adapt his style over the past 2 or 3 years, right? Because like I saw when he was raw with Spezia, like a raw Spezia. That Spezia team was a bitch to play against because it was a wild card. And then you saw his first 2 seasons with Fiorentina. I think the changing point for Italiano was the Conference League final over West Ham and how he lost that game.
Yep.
I think that's where Italiano kind of was like, look, this shit isn't working. I need to adjust it because I can't. Because to be honest with you, they should have won that game against West Ham. That was a 100% a coaching fumble. So I think what I've seen this season, and to be honest with you, I think Italiano's done a very, very good job with what he has at Fiorentina, because Fiorentina has no offense. Like they have literally no strikers. Like they don't. So
we have them.
We bought strikers. We bought all their offensive players. For me, and again, folks, feel free to disagree. It is what it is, right? I would not mind seeing Italiano with this Juventus roster. I think, if anything, I think Italiano could do something with this if he comes in with, maybe 1 or 2 purchases. I think Italiano could do something here. Is it going to be, title winning? I doubt it. I don't believe so, but you'll have the solidarity there, and then you'll have the free flowing movement that you might need to get Chiesa or to get Dusan doing what they need to do. I think if anything, I think Italiano, because like, for example, let's use today's game, for instance, with Fiorentina. The reason why I like Italiano is Italiano knows when to play a 4-3-3 and a 4-2-3-1. So like, for example, with us, I think Italiano would probably do a 4-2-3-1 because then you'll see Chiesa on the left, you'll see Yildiz behind Dusan, and then you'll see Awea or something there on the right, and then your back line will probably be Cambiaso, Bremer, Rugani, and then Danilo on the right, and then your 2 pivots are going to be Locatelli and then Rabiot are going to play there.
Or you have a new defense for that, please?
Yeah, right. Unfortunately, maybe Danilo plays as a center back and you have McKennie as a right back, but I think he would know what to do. And like, for example, against Atalanta, even though they played in at home, still he's able to get these ugly 1-0 results, because like, if you look at,
and also he's in another final again. Dude, this guy is in semifinals and final games every year right now. Like the past 3.5 years, he has the job now.
So I think he's underrated. I think, and the funny thing about it is, like, the moment he's kind of shifted to more of this grittier, uglier style of winning, you don't see like Paramount Plus and people sucking him off as like the new flavor of the week, right? Like, he's not.
Which is why it starts to make sense and why people won't make sense of it, because he's not hipster. He's not the hipster choice.
He's not.
And also his team doesn't have a Paramount Plus patch on their jersey.
Yeah.
That is also true. I know. Because, like, for example, for me, the reason why I'm not too thrilled about Motta for me is because Motta is the flavor of the week, right? Like, it's one of those things where it's just like, are you sure giving him the keys to Juve is a good idea? Or it's like with Italiano, it makes more sense because he's been at Fiorentina. And like, for example, Fiorentina, and I think Beppe had this argument too. I don't want to put words in his mouth, so I'm not going to quote him verbatim here, but I think, if I recall, and if Beppe, you do watch this and I do say it incorrectly, please correct me. I do think that, like, for example, one of Beppe's arguments, and I was like, yeah, it makes sense, is like, so for example, with Beppe saying Fiorentina was 14th, 15th before Italiano came in.
Yep.
Like, they were bottom table. Like, there were seasons where you're like, oh fuck, they might get relegated. And that's with Dusan and Chiesa there.
That was switched. Do you remember the case I made for Italiano? That was part of it. Like, he actually inherited them on P14, I believe.
Yep.
And let them up the ranks, I believe, to P7 immediately.
Yeah, he's been, his first 2 seasons with Italiano, essentially it's 7th and 7th.
Yep.
It's been consistently 7th, but I think there's more of an improvement this year per se from last year, where he's able to hold out and grind these kind of games out. My only concern that I have with Motta is, like, Motta was bouncing around job to job, right? Like, throughout, he was at Spezia, he was at Genoa, and then now he's at Bologna. Or I don't know, maybe he's refining his style and he's finally hit it. My only concern that I have with Motta is that he needs too many pieces to make his stuff work.
I think he needs to go to Parma so we get all the meats done.
That's actually funny. That's so funny. Because that's where I have my biggest pushback on Thiago.
Go to Calabria.
That too. Go to Sardinia.
They would. Nobody needs to go there.
I don't. So, like for example, I don't think so. If Italiano's at Juve, I don't think he does the crossing inshallah. Like I don't think he spams crosses with what he has. Because, like for example, you have Nico Gonzalez. You don't have you have Beltran and Belotti. Like Beltran and Belotti are the kind of finishers where you have to spam like 50 chances for them to score.
Yep.
So I don't think you need to do that at Juve.
And by the way, there's also a ceiling to the squad here. He had the past couple of years. Like there's only so much he can do.
So, speaking of sliced meats, can never actually. I had a sliced meat. I had the Genoa sandwich before the classic Genoa sandwich. But we'll go to bologna instead. I know this is really heavy-hitting news, guy. Another Romeo Agressi. I found confirmation in the last 48 hours of increasingly intense contacts with Calafiori. We must therefore pay close attention.
And that means nothing.
Cool. All right,
Yeah,
thanks.
because there were also very close meetings for Sermedic, and where is he?
Yeah, there's also very close meetings with Hussein Awar, and I believe Mumblano still thinks he has a 96.788888% chance.
It was in the list. I had to. But Vlad put it there. Yeah, I mean, Calafiori, he's been in the news. He's been heating up.
I do think, like, for example, having the option between Italiano, because to be honest with you guys, I think the next coach is either going to be Motta or Italiano. I think it's between those two.
I think Italiano's that I would like Italiano more than Motta, but some reports were saying today that he is nearing an agreement with Napoli, and honestly, I think he fits perfectly.
Oh, he would. I think he would do well. I think
nobody deserves Napoli. Why do that to yourself?
Philosophically, like I don't agree with it, but because if you want to hurt yourself or give yourself depressions, then go there. No, but actually, from their squad composition and the type of football they play, he fits that perfectly, in my opinion.
I think the one thing I think what we found is a commonality for Italiano is I think he likes having toxic bosses.
Oh yeah, he's just
because you've got Rocco Comiso, and then you go from Comiso to ADL. Like it's just a bunch of toxic man. And speaking of toxic, apparently ADL wants to implicate Giuntoli for the Osimhen deal, for the investigation on that. He wants to,
of course,
wants to get Giuntoli. He's like, I'll take Mana, but I'll get Giuntoli banned. Like what a cocksucker.
He also immediately wanted our Super League spot when we quote unquote said, we don't know if we want to stay in that one.
Yeah, it's a piece of shit.
He's such a dirtbag. He's such a dirtbag. It's hilarious.
I'm also on Calafiori, but I hope so. We were connected with lots of players we didn't get.
It's still a little early too, right? So these are just things that
so the question is, how would you fund that move, right? Like for example, Calafiori is going to cost you 25 to 30 million, and then you need to get
that's just Sule. That if you sell a Sule, perhaps
you would have to sell Sule in order to get that.
Assuming we stay with the 3-5-2 right now, I think
a lot of assumptions.
Sule we would sell Sule because he doesn't fit that. That would be the first one I sell. And if we go for 4-3-3 and play Calafiori as a left center back in that one, then I think we have to sell Bremer, and that gives us also money for midfielders.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think if Bremer goes, then you start picking up guys like Calafiori easy, and then maybe another piece in there.
So the question I have for you two is, so with Cherubini allegedly being out the door, this is from Agresti as well. A bunch of Giuntoli's guys from Napoli coming in. Yep. What do you think? You think it looks like
this was always the plan?
It was, right? And I think, and then for example, I'm starting to really think where it's just this summer is going to be the summer where Giuntoli truly takes over.
Basically, what he did is he moved out of the country, immigrated first, got the house, got the job, got everything
Brought his
ready,
whole
and now he's
family
bringing
with
the
him.
family.
Yep.
He's an immigrant.
Hey.
He's an immigrant family at this point.
Hey, that's how all of us came to our countries, or myself at least.
No, I mean, my grandfather had to do that, I guess. But yeah, same sort of thing. So, and since we beat it around the bush of Fiorentina as well, we have this guy in his
I
old shirt.
thought you wanted to close on that.
You want to close on? Well, because then we have a German translation to go over as well.
Oh, okay. That's because I thought that was at the end, because I thought you said you were going to save something for the end.
Okay, let's do German translation first. Dave, you're up.
All right.
Let me just get the right screen going here for you. Joshua Kimmich. How do you say it? Say it the German way.
Kimmich. Joshua Kimmich.
Joshua,
my guy.
Okay. There's more to it. Okay.
So,
I butchered it. Anyways, it's Prime Video Sports France. So that's why it's
he seems honestly, he seems like a German De Zerbi. Like he got hot off a season or two, and everyone thought he was
100%.
Like that's honestly what it was. Like if it wasn't like no one would give a shit about Hansi Flick if he didn't beat Barcelona like 8-1.
He is only considered a good coach because he won that COVID Champions League.
The bubble league.
Yep. No, honestly, that's why he was considered a good coach. And when he was fired and replaced by Nagelsmann, Nagelsmann, I say it the German way.
That's the right way then.
I mean, that is the right way. He's German.
Yeah, Julian Nagelsmann. And they fired him immediately when Nagelsmann said that he's available for the job, and he was immediately picked up by the German national team because he played with, he coached like all the Bayern players that were playing in the national team at that time. And that was one of the problems, because the players that already disagreed with him with strategy in Bayern disagreed also with him at the national team. And that's why the chemistry just was horrible, like from coaching to the players and everything. And which is why actually now the team that we cleaned all his mess up, changed coaches, changed coaching staff, now got players in that merit, or not just choosing every Bayern and Dortmund player. And like the toxicity is out, and there's actually hype. And I believe you saw the past results. The German team right now is doing great in all phases of the field, ironically, because our defense was horrible. And we started clicking at the right time.
I was just going to say it was because Japan finally realized Blue Lock is a reality and absolutely dominated Spain and Germany. But, that works too.
Yep.
So before we kind of do move on to, I think, Dave, we want to just move on to the final topic in just a second here. But like, what is your parting thoughts on Cherubini and Mana? For me, for Cherubini, good riddance.
Yeah,
honestly.
I mean, I'm okay. We've talked about blowing the club up, moving on, rebuilding, all that stuff. Management's part of it too, right?
What I'm sad about is I like Mana very much, and honestly, I think he has a very, very high potential. And he also made some couple of good deals. And also, before Giuntoli came, he was the guy that facilitated the Zakaria deals to sell him. I honestly like Mana very much, but if it means that we get like Giuntoli's guys from Napoli,
I mean, he hasn't cut out until now, so
that's
unusual.
Yeah. So kind of to touch on it, right? So like, for example, with me with Mana, I thought Mana did a phenomenal job with the next gen, but now it's just like it's difficult for him to Nope. But with Mana, because like, for example, he did a phenomenal job with the next. Oh, there we go. So like, we're just kind of touching, like, for example, Mana leaving the next gen was a big loss because he did a lot of the cooking for the next gen. I thought him and that for him, it's tough for him to stay to be like number 2 to Giuntoli.
Yeah,
it wouldn't make sense, right?
It doesn't. It was a bridge. He was the uncle that sponsored the family coming over in the immigration process.
Yeah, so it's like for me, I'm a big fan of Stefanelli because Stefanelli has a very good eye for talent as well. Same thing with Mantovani that he's bringing in. Because, like, for example, really in this age of football, you need to look at I don't want to say money ball, right? I don't like saying it because what money balling is you take flawed pieces and you put them in a system and a thing that works, and that's not sustainable. You might get success. Leicester City 15-16 is the definition of Moneyball. They had 10 rejects or 10 scrubs that they put together, and it just ended up working amazing. But see, when you're looking at it, like, for example, the one thing I want to see Giuntoli do, and I think he did that at Napoli, right? Where he was looking in France, he was looking in Germany, right? He was looking for players all over the place and getting those pieces and finding pieces. I understand the whole made in Italy shtick, but to be honest with you, like, most of the Italian players now are ass. Like, they are. Like, there's not an Italian player that I'm super stoked for or excited for besides maybe Luis Hassa, but I have my own biases towards that. But I don't know. It's just like, you need to be able to look across the board because, like, for example, that's what makes Real Madrid dominant. They look at all 5 leagues. If anyone's good, you're mine. Same thing with Man City. They're looking in Portugal. They're looking in everywhere. There's South America. They're looking all over the place. And, like, with Giuntoli, right, the thing that I liked about Giuntoli is he got Osimhen, whether he gets banned for it or not. He got Krava. He got Lobotka. He was able because, like, for example, I was one of those people that was a naysayer for it, but, like, the whole Callejon, Insigne, like, their big front 3 that they had was like, what's his face, Dres Mertens. So it's like, I thought when those 3 left, and then with Hamsik and all those other guys, Zielinski, or like certain midfield pieces, like when they and Koulibaly, when I'm like, okay, they're gonna lose all these guys, I was like convinced that Napoli's gonna fall off entirely. But Giuntoli like restacked that squad like quite well, actually, with like a bunch of, I don't want to say no-name players because they're not Moneyball players. They're actually pretty decently good players. And he just knows how to replenish it and fill it.
Yep. And also, like, it was he didn't just buy players, he bought players for the exact positions they needed and for the exact philosophy they wanted. So, like, his scouting was also on point. It wasn't just like throwing shit at him around, hope it sticks. Like, it completely worked.
So Vincenzo asks us this question here. Should Juve be looking at the Bundesliga for transfer targets in 2022? There was an idea to look for bargains when Italian teams were scalping us. We ended up getting...
Well, you kind of did touch on that, how we're looking everywhere. So by extension, yes, Germany should be a place we look at.
Here's my philosophy on this. If teams in Serie A, to be honest with you, I think, and this is, me being an ass, the last league that Juve should purchase players from is Serie A. Because to be honest with you,
don't give those idiots money anymore.
Don't give those goobers money. Like, anytime we purchase a player from Fiorentina or Sassuolo, I lose my shit because it's just like, why are we? Because Sassuolo will scalp everybody, right? I'm sure they've scalped, like, that's how they do things. But like, I'm just sick and tired of us sitting there like negotiating for 3 months for Locatelli and like Locatelli not doing shit. Like, that's like, seriously, like, it's like you would think that Sassuolo's, you're negotiating the rights to the city of wherever Sassuolo is, right? Like, it's like you're negotiating rights to the Mapai. That's how long it was for an average midfielder. And it's the same thing with Atalanta. Like, they will overprice and overvalue their players. Like, for example, any team in Serie A, if they know that Juve is coming, they will overvalue their players. The only way around that is if there's a release clause. Maybe Bologna is a little bit more willing to sell at a cheaper price, but I doubt it. I think, like, for example, I think Bologna is going to say, hey, you want Calafiori? 40 million. And to be honest with you, the only way that this stops is if Juve say, you know what, fuck it, we're taking our business out abroad. Like, that's honestly what you would need to do. Because I'm sick and tired of these Serie A teams thinking, because honestly, we put food on all of these bastards' tables with our outrageous transfer fees only for them to sit there and throw us under the bus.
Yep.
When the FIGC comes out and does something, all those clubs sit there and just kind of, yes, Mr. Gravina, yes, can you do it in my face instead of my chest this time? Whereas, like, we're essentially feeding outside of Milan, Inter, and Napoli, we are practically feeding all of these clubs. And if you want to say, no, we're not feeding Atalanta, bullshit. We fed Atalanta Kulusevski, the money from that, because it was Parma. We bought him from Atalanta while he was loaned at Parma. We fed them with Demiral. We fed them with Romero. Like, we gave these teams bargain deals on players only for them to screw us in the ass. Like, it's like, screw you guys. Like, I don't want to buy any player from Serie A.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I do agree.
No, the Bundesliga is still overlooked. I think for talent.
I think so.
The Bundesliga is very like underrated for the talent and gets overlooked consistently. Like, for example, Liverpool bought Wataru Endo from Stuttgart. He was their holding midfielder. He was around 29 or 30 years old when they bought him, but he was their captain and also captain of the Japanese national team. And they brought him in, and he's now there for just 16 million euros. And he's now their like starting holding midfielder and is bossing around players like Rodri in the Manchester City game, for example, and Kovacic, and like he's just everywhere on the pitch. Like, I think we can dip into the Bundesliga market, but the problem is slowly they raise their prices as well, because they realize that all of the Bundesliga, including Bayern as well, by the way, are by now selling clubs, because Bayern will have to sell Alphonso Davies to Real Madrid, for example, to make some money. They want to revive their midfield. They will have to sell Kimmich and Goretzka, maybe, for example. So they will have a lot to do as well. So basically, every league has become a selling league, except of like Real Madrid in La Liga, and every La Liga team has become a selling team as well, and the Premier League, of course.
I think if you were to break it down with ways or certain styles that you want to purchase, if you want to purchase a player with a high motor, high energy, like, for example, if you're looking for a fullback, or if you're looking for a 6 or possibly an 8, you look in Germany, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's where you go. You go to the Bundesliga if you want that build, because Germany they produce players like that like it's nobody's business. Like, either fullbacks or, for example, a strong 6. Germany is about that physicality, that high motor, high energy, high tempo,
and the tactical knowledge, because they play like you need a high football IQ to play the tactic that is needed in Germany. Like, all of them that are starting here are actually, like, if you're not a team that fights relegation, of course, then you have like in nearly every position players with high football IQ as well.
Yeah, and then the next thing you would want, like, for example, if you want with a little bit flair, so like if you want, a creative attacking player, a creative attacking midfielder with technical ability, you would go to La Liga. I think La Liga still has the highest technical ability of players.
Are you racially profiling?
I am 100% doing that, and if anyone has an issue,
and South America, and it's not racial profiling because
it's the way they play. It's the way they play. Yeah. So, like, for example, if you're looking for those attributes, I would say South America is raw and cheaper if you want to take a chance on it. If you want something that's a little bit more defined, you look at, like, for example, the Real Sociedads, or you look at those mid-table clubs to find, like, and air quotes, like an Isco. But, like, for example, you look at those clubs there and you're able to find clubs for technical and ability. If you want, like, a wild card per se, like all of the above, potentially, you would go to France, because
France has everything.
They have everything, but they're all under 21, 22 years old. So like you're kind of like looking for it there. Like, you're kind of taking like a project build per se. And then if you're looking for like the next world-class wonder kid or like superstar, it's Eastern Europe. I think Eastern Europe is going to produce the most like gems as far as like things go. Like, for example, Yildiz Krava. I think Luis Hassa is going to be an absolute stud when he gets older.
Yep.
Like you're going to look into the Eastern Europe area, air quotes Balkans, if you want to find like, because like, for example, Modric from Croatia, Mandzukic as well. Like if you want to get like those like bona fide diamond in the rough, those grit, because like here's one of the
coverage scaly. I know Georgia's not the Balkans, but like Eastern Europe,
Western Asia. I don't know. I mean, technically it's Asia, right? But
yeah,
it's
UEFA. It's on the steps, if you will.
Yeah, UEFA's map is like ridiculous, but you would want to get like one of those, like if you want to get one of those like gritty guys, I would, to be honest with you, I really do see like within the next 10 years, I see like a rise in Eastern Europe as far as like player quality.
Can I throw a curveball question at you quickly?
Okay.
No, Germans don't play baseball.
Do we? Yeah, but I know some English terms at least. Do we have a scouting department in South America?
I don't think so.
Because like Manchester City has, Barcelona has, Real Madrid has, and that's why they are able to get those for young Brazilians and Argentinian players that would usually go to Benfica, Porto, or Sporting because of they can speak Portuguese there. That's why most of the South Americans go to Portugal first. But the big clubs have scouting departments in South America to not pay the fee to Benfica, for example, but to be at the source right away. And I don't think we have a scouting department there.
No, here's so one of the things that, like, for example, I got the gist of when we were doing work for Juve last year was they suck at anything that involves anything in the Western Hemisphere. Like they are, like, with all due respect, if anyone from Juve is watching this, with all due respect, but there's some feedback here. They are anything outside of Europe. They cannot market the shit. Their marketing is garbage.
Oh.
Like it is so bad. They have no idea anything in the Western Hemisphere, how it works, how it operates. They have no understanding of anything. It's like, for example,
we get that a ketchup is shit, but put ketchup on everything and the Americans will come.
Yeah, all you got to do, Juventus, is just get a ketchup bottle with the stripes and everything. People will just fucking cream all over it. But like I'm telling you, like Juventus is so poor when it comes to anything outside of Europe, because like if you look at like their next gen and all of it, it's all like Belgium, some Italians, a Turkish player, like
some from the Balkan, like some players that come from German clubs.
You'll have like the odd and out with Caio George and Baranachea, but like it's really just centralized in Europe, where it's like they just don't know how to market outside of Europe. I think that's one of the issues with Juve being like, all traditional and old school. Like the difference when you look at the clubs that you're naming, right? Like, for example, Manchester City. Manchester City is ran by the Sheik, and the Sheik does not give a fuck, right? He wants whatever's the best, whatever it takes to put in there. I watched that.
He bought them 7 clubs and can exchange players, loan players, and sell players to their club however he wants.
Yep.
Like he actually has clubs on every single continent, which makes the scouting for him easier as well.
Yeah, so it's just like the way that they looked at it from a sustainability, even like, for example, like Liverpool does it too, where like Liverpool's willing to look at like areas and stuff like that. It's just, for me, Juve kind of have like this weird, I don't want to say arrogance, but it seems like they kind of have like we know what we're doing and we don't really give a shit about what anyone else says. Because like, for example, Manchester City, what they've done so damn well is they've essentially tapped into Benfica and Porto's talent pipeline.
Yep.
Because like, for example, what Benfica and Porto did after like 2008 or 2009, when they kind of realized the direction that football was going and they wouldn't be able to be competitive, they kind of became the South American Ajax, right? So it's just like Ajax has always been, known for developing players and punching players out for profit. But like what Benfica and Porto were doing is they were looking in this, South America, where Ajax was kind of doing it there, but mostly in Europe. But Porto and Benfica were bringing in all these players, bringing them up, selling them. If you look at it, like the dominant Real Madrid squad practically was funded by Benfica and Porto. Like it was like ridiculous. So what Man City did was Man City was like, well, shit, why pay Porto and Benfica 60-70 million for a player when we can get the player and then just loan it to them?
Yep.
All right, guys. Speaking of all of this and spending money on players and scouting, of course,
So
this is what we spent our money on, and this is who we have. But look at this comments from DAZN. This is Dusan saying
he said
this.
that back then. I think he said it when he transferred to Juve.
By the way, I went to a Hajduk Split game, Vlad, at September last year, and it was completely carnage, dude.
I bet
the Croatians are incredible as well, like flares and everything.
So let's talk about this, right? So, like, for example, Dusan made this when he transferred to Juve. I think this is when this comment was made, so I don't know why people are reaching for this. Haaland is faster than me, but for the rest, we compete. So here's where Haaland and Dusan differ. Haaland positioning is incredible. His finishing is lethal, hyper lethal. His physicality is better than Dusan. Haaland is a physical specimen compared to Dusan, with all due respect to Dusan. Where I think if we were to compare Dusan from Fiorentina and his first 2 seasons at Juve, Haaland miles ahead. If we were to compare current Dusan Vlahovic with Haaland, I would say Dusan knows how to do the dirty work and is a little bit more complete than Haaland is now. Because, like, for example, this season has shown us one thing with Haaland is if he does not have a supply line, he is fucked.
Yeah.
Like, he is genuinely fucked. So I think now that Dusan has kind of understood, the aspects of being a complete 9, you can knock this all you want, but I think Dusan is now starting to go on that trend to become like a Higuain, right? So, like, I don't know if he'll ever hit that level, but, like, for example, I could very well see the way that Dusan is progressing. I could see him become a Higuain. I think the only player right now that's transcendent upon time is Mbappe. I don't think anyone catches Mbappe. I think Mbappe is genuinely a cheat code. He literally he
covers everything.
He is, like, for example, what Thierry Henry wished he could be. Like, I know Henry was like, I could be faster than Mbappe, but, like, Mbappe just does so much more. Like, just so much more. He's 0 assists, 0 goals in finals. That's so funny.
Oh man, Vlad.
Hey, if it wasn't for Lukaku, he wouldn't even have had that trophy.
Yeah, he wouldn't have had that Champions League trophy. But
there was some stuff coming out too that Manchester City, something that Pep said in the locker room in the final last year, shows that City truly feared Inter or something. It was from SemperInter.com, so I didn't believe any of it. But I don't know. Do you think Man City had any real fear?
No, I think Guardiola just has his, like, overthinking fear. Like, I think, like, Guardiola is, like, sitting there and, like, you have the wheel. Stop trying to invent the wheel. Just roll the fucking wheel.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe what if I do 3 pillars instead of 2 or this or that? Like, Guardiola tries to innovate more. So Guardiola tries to innovate more than his own good, per se. Like, that's Guardiola's biggest issue is he's like, for example, you've got an amazing recipe for scrambled eggs, and then you're eating the eggs, and Guardiola sits there and says, "Oh man, this is shit. I need to do this," or, like,
put some ketchup on.
It's like, dude, it's fine. It's eggs. Relax.
Yeah. So what's your prediction for what?
You cut Dash. You cut a little bit out there for me for a second. That's why I thought you were finished. Pep even stopped all the overthinking stuff. Now, if he plays clubs like Arsenal, he puts 4 center backs in the game and just gives a fuck about, like, going for haymakers in that game. Like, he actually plays a pragmatic style, then has the ball as much as he can, and if he has the ball, tries to turn water into wine, basically.
Oh my goodness! You mean a Allegri ball?
Yeah, dude. For 4 center backs, sometimes even 5 with John Stones playing the 6. Or if he has 4, like, he pulls John Stones a little bit forward to have him as a 6 and pull somebody else down into the defensive backline. But yeah, he plays 4 center backs most of the time.
So there was a question from Vlad attached to this.
So,
Vlahovic played at City and Haaland at Juve this season. How many goals, assists does each other have? I mean, that's a bit of a load.
I would say overall in the season, I could see Dusan hitting 20 to 25 goals and 10 to 12 assists.
Okay, what is Haaland at, if I spelled his name right?
I think 20 to 25 all comps.
18 goals, 5 assists.
Oh,
so
that's even less than I thought.
So it's crazy because like last season, I think he hit 36.
Yep. Last year he had 55 all competitions, I believe, something like that, crazy like that.
For me,
3 goals and no assists. I
think you're looking up the Coppa Italia, maybe.
Hold up, I have the hot map ready.
Yeah, you have the Italian Cup stats on there.
Oh, come on, transfer market. Just like boomer moment. I'm having a boomer moment again.
Though I do, like, for example, for me, if what we saw, like, for example, if you get the Dusan versus Lazio consistently for 38 games a season, I think he could hit a double. He could get a double-double. I think he could do 20 to 25 goals and then like 10 to 15 assists. Like, I think it's very possible. However, here's the tangible you got to take, right? Haaland, and this is where I think Haaland has Dusan beat. Consistency.
Yeah.
Like for example, Haaland is ridiculously consistent. Like, for example, if you were to put Dusan and Haaland on, like, for example, say that they both get 10 clear-cut chances from De Bruyne, I would say Haaland scores more than Dusan.
Hey, they've just found a gem there.
Vanya Vlahovic.
I don't know where this guy's played.
Probably
Partizan Belgrade.
He's at the. I think he's Vlahovic's brother.
Oh, maybe 15 goals, 4 assists, opposed to 18 and 4. I mean, those are actually pretty close numbers.
No, they're very similar, but you got to remember, right? This season, Haaland's midfielders are not. They're not creating as much as they normally are.
You mean like ours?
Dude,
right?
No, but imagine him being an all squad with even less supply. That's the problem.
So that's where the conversation is.
But I think still by just his finishing skill, he would be around the same numbers as Vlahovic, at least.
I would say he has a little bit of an edge, just because I think Haaland is more of a complete finisher. Though, like I said, I think Dusan contributes to the roster more at Man City, because, like, for example, the only concern that you would have is his mental fortitude, his dependability. I think that is the question that I would have for Dusan. Though, like, for example, I think the way that Dusan plays, I think Dusan can complement Man City currently better at this point of the season than Haaland is right now, because, like, Haaland is just like, is just an elite finisher, and if like De Bruyne or certain players aren't playing well, like, Haaland's just kind of left for dead. And
played about a match more as well.
And to be honest, like, there is a thing called a sophomore slump. Like, Haaland is having a sophomore slump in the Prem.
He's a year younger as well, which is, I mean, I think
because Mo Salah had his sophomore slump too, right? Salah scored 30 goals and then he didn't hit that again. Unless, like, right now, I think the only thing that football has guaranteed is if you are Messi and Ronaldo, you are guaranteed to score 30 to 40 goals a season. If you are not any of the two, you are not going to do that. The only person that is close to doing something like that on a consistent level is Mbappe. But, like,
and by the way, I think it's crazy how we actually even underrate Mbappe, because his numbers he has right now are way better than the numbers Messi and Ronaldo had at the same age.
That's the one thing I find ironic.
And he has already won a World Cup. And did they win the Euros? I don't believe France did win the Euros. So imagine he wins the Euros the next couple of years. And honestly, if he wins the Champions League one time, his numbers are better. Prove me wrong. He's better than those two.
I think he wins more Champions League than Messi and Ronaldo when he goes to Real. I could see him.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine that front of Mbappe, Vinicius, and Rodrigo?
Dude, that's incredible.
Like that would just be, you wouldn't even know what to do.
Dude,
the only issue,
yeah.
the only issue is just their egos, right? Like Vinicius and Mbappe's egos are going to be the biggest concerns. But like, you guys thought that 2010 to 2018 was bad with the whole Messi and Ronaldo dick measuring contest, but like, it's not going to be a dick measuring contest. It's just going to be Mbappe winning everything, besides maybe international tournaments because they're always fickle to win. But like, I see if he is there, right? And like, for example, you have a midfield three of Camavinga, Chouameni, and Valverde, and then a front three of Bellingham as well. And then you have a front three of Mbappe, Vinicius, and Rodrigo.
And by the way, Endrick too, who just killed off England, and who was the other team? They have him as well for next season.
That dude, I could see them.
They are incredible.
They are going to they are three-peating. I don't see anyone else beating them. Like you might as well just hunker down. Like anyone that goes to that Champions League final against them is just going to get railed. Like I maybe like, for example, maybe Mbappe's goal totals don't eclipse Messi and Ronaldo because it's just at that point like people are just spamming balls to them to score. But as far as like a well-rounded, like I would not be surprised if France won another World Cup, maybe 1 or 2 Euros. Like I think he will be like, people are going to sit there and jerk off Messi as the greatest ever. I'm sorry, I think Mbappe beats him.
Yeah, he is on course definitely for me as well.
Yeah, I think he beats him, and to be honest, like I think we can all say that like everything was catered. Everything was catered to Messi.
Mbappe's got shit because he doesn't have that goddamn golden cape from the King of Qatar or whatever the fuck he is.
He will get the cape of the King of Saudi at some point.
Yeah, I mean, no, until he gets a cape, no, Mbappe's got nothing.
Vlad says only Allegri can stop Real from three-peating.
Oh man.
No, De Zerbi will with Bayern.
De Zerbi will go to Bayern and be the chosen one. Could you imagine if he went to Bayern and absolutely shut everyone up that doubted him?
Maybe.
That'd be hilarious.
It would.
But honestly, that would be unfair because Bayern can spend 100 to 200 million every season if they want to. So I don't know. It won't prove anything for me if he wins at Bayern because everybody can win at Bayern.
Except Tuchel.
Yep. And by the way, before they brought Tuchel in, Nagelsmann had them only 1 point behind Dortmund, had them already in the Champions League quarterfinals, I believe, and the DFB Pokal semifinal. So they were in all competitions. They just fired Nagelsmann because Tuchel was the new shiny toy.
That, and I think I think Nagelsmann wasn't good for the board. I think the board hated him because he would call the board out on anything.
Dude, he calls out everybody on their shit, but I think that's actually good and refreshing, and that's why he works with the national team right now, because he's giving a shit about opinions and doing what's best for the team.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But I guess to answer Vlad's questions, just to kind of close that up, I mean, the numbers are pretty close. I would say Man City, obviously, despite having not a great year,
they've taken a pragmatic approach.
They're still better than us.
I think, yeah, they are. But like, for example, Man City was like scoring for fun last season, and then like you look at them this season, they've kind of like mellowed out.
Yep.
Like it's like, for example, they just busted their first nut, so they're just kind of limp. So
they got a trouble. There's a lot. There's the psychological. There's the fatigue from playing all those games from last year. Bit of turnover. And maybe getting figured out a little bit too.
And by the way, they missed De Bruyne for half the season. They missed Haaland for 2 months, I believe. So
yeah. So there's issues there, but overall, yeah, I think if you were to swap Vlahovic and Haaland, you'd probably still have fairly similar numbers. Vlahovic he'd probably have a couple more goals, maybe.
By the way, Haaland was cheaper than Vlahovic. I'm just saying.
How much did they get him for?
I believe 55 or 60, because he had the release clause in his contract.
The release clause. Yeah, that's a little unfair. In that
but
regard,
his contract is like fucking ridiculous. It's like 40 million a season.
Yeah, that, and like Italy doesn't really do the release clause thing. So
Italy are stupid for not doing that.
No, Italy does the 2-year loan moves with buy obligation for 25 million.
Yeah, for 40 million, because apparently, he might be good.
Yep.
Sometimes maybe good.
Or Sassuolo is like the king.
By the way, this is the weekly reminder of Inter still has to pay for Fratesi and who was it still? So they have 60 million pending, so they absolutely need to win everything they can because they're in this shit if not.
They've only got Serie A. They're out of everything else.
Yep.
Jeffy, this is the second time you said this. You really want De Zerbi to just be in our lives.
Here, I'll tell you what you're gonna do. You're probably gonna end up hunting those stands because there's no way he does well. There's no way he does well.
Just keep on hunting for life. Haaland 112-minute goal scoring ratio, Vlahovic 118. Yeah, Haaland's just like slightly better.
That team overall has regressed this season. I just think that they're fatigued. I really do. I think they're just kind of like, we won everything this year. Fuck it. Like, who cares?
Yeah, but also Pep is saying, "Hey, fuck it. We don't need to win every game.
We don't.
3-0, 4-0. Let's just win it 1-0, 2-1, and have it."
Yeah, then that could play a lot into his lower numbers. It's just so hypothetical, Vlad. I don't like these questions.
Vlad, you're way too late on that one.
We covered that Saturday about the whole betting thing. IFTV will cream their pants if that were ever to happen.
Not if De Zerbi loses, though.
Yeah, no, not if you do. Yeah, that is true.
Not if they lose. All right, gentlemen, we got through a whole stack of just rando news. That's what we do Wednesday nights. If you don't know, if you haven't been there already, hit that QR code or hit the link in the description. That gets you into the Discord, and that's where everyone puts the drops for Wednesday night, and quite frankly, just for every night, because it's always going. There's always fun to be had.
Also, like if you're a Twitter or an Instagram, just DM it to us. Like if you're more of a Twitter/Instagram user and you want us to react to something, just DM the respective pages on social.
Please DM this channel. Follow this channel.
If you see anything, if you see anything there, I mean, obviously, if it's another content creator, we'll be cognizant of it, because we don't want to have like a roast show or something like that, unless it's something completely outrageous. But because we want to get the Instagram and the Twitter a little bit more out there, a little bit more active. So slap that sucker. If you guys have anything you're an Instagram or a Twitter user and you want us to react to something on there, slap it on there. I know we have most of our stuff on Discord because most of the community is on Discord. If you're not on Discord, I recommend you do it, because Dave has one of the thumbnails there, because it is a Discord exclusive watch party in the Discord channel. So that's one of the things that we offer. If there's big events or big items, we'll actually open up a room inside Discord and we'll all watch events together. The last one we did was Elimination Chamber when it was in Australia. All of us Americans woke up at 5 a.m. that day.
Hey, don't cry that you had one off-time pay-per-view.
I know, I did. Well, I mean, hey, you got Backlash in France and you have the Bash in Berlin, so you've got some that are more favorable.
By the way, I took Monday and Tuesday completely off because I wouldn't make work.
You need to recover.
Hey, it's a long weekend. It's SmackDown on Friday night. It's WrestleMania on Saturday and Sunday, and it's the Monday after Mania, which will be huge as well.
It's going to be a big weekend. I think, to be honest with you, I think night one is going to be more entertaining than night two.
Oh, night two has, by the way, both championship fights. Also, the Seth Rollins match will open the show, I believe.
They'll find a way to string you along. There'll be one good match each night, and you'll love it anyways.
Yeah.
Oh, there are lots of good matches. I believe the only one I'm not hyped about is what is Bobby Lashley's faction called against AOP?
It's just Bobby Lashley's faction. That's it. They don't have a faction name.
Yeah.
And Frankie, yes, I know you've been retreating and liking. Thank you so much. We did get another rando follower, I think, as a result. So thank you.
Here's my here's my determined shake. His tactics are like a 10 out of 10. Hot stripper, great to look at, but Jeff, I love you, Habibi, but his tactics are like a 5 out of 10. He does the same thing.
He's saying okay. Well, he's just like, it's a hot stripper, like in terms of looks, but it's just looks.
I would say it's like
don't ruin his joke. It's like the hot stripper. You don't marry the stripper, no matter how hot she looks.
But the hot stripper has like hot and big backline. He does.
Yeah, exactly.
Just don't marry the stripper, guys.
Don't marry the stripper.
Damn, Frankie.
I will too. I'm leaving. I'm leaving this weekend as well, guys.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be Canadian Dave is out on vacay. It's gonna be German Dave and myself until
What's this WWE speed? What's going on? Not that I really care, but
it's like a new X exclusive show.
Okay, cool. Whatever.
Vinny wants us to say it like Vince. Unfortunately, we can't. This is the best I can do for you. There you go. There's your Vince. The one that picked the chosen.
Vince McMahon. What is deeper?
It was Ricochet and Dragon Lee for speed. I'm gonna put a prediction out there. I'm gonna say Dragon Lee, or not Dragon Lee. I'm gonna say Ricochet wins the Andre the Giant Battle Royal.
Oh, there's the Battle Royal again.
It's on SmackDown.
I completely forgot about that one because it doesn't do shit.
It doesn't do shit. That's why it's on Friday Night SmackDown.
Isn't the Hall of Fame also on
It's
Friday?
after. Yeah, it's after the show.
After, okay. There were a couple of times they did the Hall of Fame show why SmackDown, which was cringe.
Yeah, and well, Dragon Lee and Ricochet doing a 3-minute match makes sense because those two are just like absolute like beasts.
So it's just 3 minutes. Is it clipped? Is that what it is?
No, it's just a 3-minute match. Speed is like they fight for 3 minutes and that's it.
Okay, cool. All right, sure. I mean, that's one round of boxing, so
pretty much,
I guess. Cool, whatever. In that case, WWE has gone. What do you even call that?
Well, the funny thing is,
like it's gone in like snippets. It's gone bite-sized.
Well, they do it before SmackDown's live. So like if you have tickets to the SmackDown live event, they film the matches before the show starts.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's interesting. What could I say? I'll watch one.
It's like for example how the hardcore title used to be. That's the only difference. I know, like for me, I think they're gonna push Ricochet as much as some people might not think. Just seeing how Ricochet has been performing recently and how he lifted Ivar, I think they're pushing.
If Ricochet had any mic skills, he would be world champion.
I don't know who I'm watching, but this guy is large enough that I don't think he can last longer than 3 minutes.
Big Bronson Reed. You gotta watch Ricochet versus Dragon Lee, Dave. Those two are like
that's the next. That's the. Oh, he's Mexican. I see. He's got the mask.
Yeah, he's a luchador. He's a luchador.
There you go.
That'd be funny if TKO sponsored Juventus. You know, Juventus wants to make any fans or impersonable fans work with WWE because WWE is hot as it's ever been recently.
You'll get all the best Americans.
Like if you could get Juventus to do something with WWE, they could
Hold on. I mean, if they're gonna do WWE, you got to do NASCAR as well.
Or can we to fight into just get Disney Plus or something on the show?
No, NASCAR and WWE locked in, and Bud Light or Coors Light. I think you guys like Coors Light now, right? Because of social justice things.
No, I will.
I'm not a beer drinker. I don't know.
No, there's we won't get into it. There's a thing with Bud Light. Anyways,
yeah. I think we should exit before we go down the rabbit hole of wrestling.
Yeah, we won't talk about that one. In that case, guys, thank you so much. It's Wednesday. I mean, it's you might see me again. I don't know yet. We'll see how my schedule goes, but I'm definitely leaving after this weekend. Until then, Dash, Dave, thank you so much. Thank you everyone in the chat for keeping things going. It was a fun one. Take it away.
Alrighty, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Wednesday Tinfoil Hat Show, where we had a lot of articles to go off. Obviously, remember to like and subscribe. We've got some things going on the weekend that we're coming to you with. We've got some Fiorentina pre-match talk that we'll talk, a watch along for that as well. And then we'll have the weekend of wrestling. So again, I really implore you guys to join the Discord if you're a wrestling fan. We'll all watch the WrestleMania together so we can, acknowledge your Lord and Savior, Roman Reigns.
The Tribal Chief.
I'm kind of glad I'm leaving this weekend. I don't have to put up with you guys. All right. Japan GP as well. All the sports. 3 sports. 3 days in a weekend, sort of.
So many sports.
And Darts Premier League tomorrow.
So many sports, guys. That's why we're a sports channel. covering it all. All right, guys. Love you all. Have a good night.